Hello and welcome to the Record Players podcast. My name's Harry, and as usual, I'm joined by Jack and Dennis. So, on today's episode, we're reviewing the latest album from Kanye West entitled Donda. Let's do this. Okay, so before we jump into it, I just wanted to remind everyone to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy our review. If you're not feeling what we're saying or you've got a different opinion, leave a comment. Let us know what did you think of the album. So, let's just get straight into it. For me, as I kind of said before to you guys, I was not fussed on Ye or Jesus is King, so I've been sour on Kanye for a little while, which has been frustrating. The good news is on this, there was definitely a lot of interesting, diverse material I found that I enjoyed, something that I couldn't really say about the previous two albums. But this motherfucker's 27 tracks long. I'll put it to you like this. There's probably 8 tracks that I liked. When it's 27 tracks, man, that's a bad ratio. So yeah. I was frustrated. Like, it's one or two things, right? Either either he's completely surrounded by yes men, or he's trying to play the streaming numbers game. I don't feel like he's playing the streaming numbers game because the previous releases were so short. So, I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on this? I feel like this mammoth of an album.
Yeah, I think like it's probably more of a symptom of where he is at the moment in his life. There's just so much shit going on. I feel like, sort of similar to some other people, he's not had enough vetting of this project. But I also think he's probably quite a difficult person to vet at the best of times. Because he's got such like an artistic vision and he wants to follow it how he wants to. But yeah, definitely there's some chaff that can be cut from this.
Yeah, I'd add to that.
What about you, Dennis?
Yeah, I'd add to that. Very much the same sentiments. Very few tracks that I actually enjoyed, and I think that some of these tracks actually sounded a bit like unfinished. Sounded a bit like they were like completely drafts.
Where was the drums on half of this album?
I know. So many times I was like, this would be so perfect if it had a drop or if it had a beat.
Yeah.
But it's like it's almost like it was released too early. And my initial thought was like, okay, you could have done so many different things. First of all, it's too long. Why didn't you? Okay, one clever thing to follow in the footsteps of like Brockhampton or King Gizzard and release like a 1 and a 2. So like release the finished tracks now on like a 10-track album, and then 6 months time release another 10 tracks when they've had a little more time to pickle.
People would be super fucking hyped as well if you release like a 10-track full-length album and then 6 months later you do another one without announcing anything in between. Like, people would lose their shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys got the impression, but to me this album felt like a mix of two albums, which I would have never have thought he would have mashed together. To me, it felt kind of Jesus is Kingy because there was a heavy gospel presence, but also there was some weird Yeezus shit going on.
He must have,
which is like the other end of the. Yeah, I was going to say it's the other end of the spectrum in terms of music releases he's done, but somehow he's kind of like mashed those two styles, the kind of gospel with the kind of distorted, rough sound, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But those drums, man, or the lack of drums. There were so many songs, right, where it was led by kind of like the 808 like synth, or like the kind of bass synth was leading the rhythm, but there was just no snares, no defined like kick.
Yeah, one track that really stuck out to me was Tell the Vision. It's the one that has the piano melody at the beginning that sounds very like Addams Family. Dun, dun, dun,
that was just with Pop Smoke on, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I fucking hated that track, man, because that felt like Kanye wasn't even on that. It was just Pop Smoke, and it sounded like he got like a shitty YouTube rip. like it sounded like on Pop Smoke's vocals. I don't know if you can remember. It sounded like he did a YouTube rip of the song with a really shitty like conversion, then re-uploaded it to YouTube, and then did another shitty YouTube rip.
128 kbps.
Yeah, that was a particular sour taste. Left a sour taste in my mouth. That track.
So what did you guys think of the part twos? Because what we're saying, like, I feel like if we're gonna go down the road of potentially shortening the album,
Yeah,
they're an obvious place to start. Just
make it
the part twos, or just have the originals.
yeah, make extended version of part ones 100% for me, because I'm looking at the part twos and there was some good stuff like Jail. Particularly I liked Jail part 2. The Baby's verse was good. I like Jay-Z on part 1. I thought they could have both gone after each other, and even like they on part 2 it's like Marilyn Manson was doing like the extra layering in the chorus, like I'm not going to jail tonight, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
So just do part 2 and put Jay-Z's verse at the end or the beginning.
With that track in particular, though, was it that track? No, not that track. I think it's Jesus Lord, where the
Jay Electronica and the last track. Yeah,
the Jay Electronica verse is exactly the same in part 1 and part 2. That's why I was
it's
like,
weird. It's a weird choice.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, was this just 2 different drafts?
It felt like he did alternate versions and couldn't decide which one to put on the album. Exactly. But again, there would have been more of a display of effort if he had extended the instrumental and then slotted it in. It kind of adds to me the kind of rush job feeling that you mentioned.
And it's been so long that this album's been in the works. If we're to believe, when we first heard about it until now, it's been such a long time. Like, it seems so weird that this is the project we get after that length of build up, and he could have had potentially I think it's a couple of years at this point to put this together. Obviously, a lot of stuff has happened. For him, so I don't know.
Kanye's like music releases these days feels equivalent to like your average like game developer studio. Shit gets pushed, delayed, and then it's still released unfinished, and you got to wait for the patches.
You got to get that Donda DLC.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm pretty sure he did update it. I think I saw another podcast where someone said that they downloaded the album for like listening offline, and then they had to re-download it like a day after.
Well, at the moment,
and I know he did that on Pablo as well.
At the moment, all the ones on Spotify are clean versions, because he's saying he's not cursing in his music for God at the moment.
But he's got features that are swearing, and so he's had to omit their.
But will there be a different release later down the line that's like an alternate, like a director's cut that's got curse words in, that has other stuff he's refined since then?
Man, no one needs the director's cut. That should be 3 hours. What about features? What did you guys think? Because there was like features on pretty much every, 2/3 of the album. There's features. Any standouts for you guys?
To be honest, I thought that every single feature outperformed Kanye. It's like I thought that the idea of the song, like for example on the song "God Breathed" with Vori doing this R&B.
I fucked that song.
That was sick. But it's almost like the idea, like Kanye came up with the initial idea and he didn't really develop it much beyond that. But then Vori just took the ball and ran with it. Like the ideas that he's bringing out, the lyrics that he's bringing out are just much more. They just seem much more developed. They just seem much more artistic, to be honest, than Kanye.
Vori was one of my favorite features, actually. I think he crept up a few times. I thought he always killed it. Very like haunting voice. I'd never heard of him before, but
neither did I. No, not an R&B fan. But yeah, that's my, like, in general, I thought throughout, even with the Jay-Z, like, when you look at Jail, you can't help but compare a Kanye Jay-Z collaboration to Watch the Throne. And
but Kanye's not rapping on that song though.
No, he's more
just singing, and Jay-Z's it's only a Jay-Z rap verse.
Yeah, but my initial thought was where you were far away from Watch the Throne. Yeah,
really? I like, because I've never considered Watch the Throne like a seminal work. It's got some bangers on it, but like
it holds up
as a collaborative album. I've always been underwhelmed compared to how other people like see it. It's like I feel like they've never hit what Kanye West and Jay-Z could do together. Do you know what I mean?
Right. So you compare, say, College Dropout and Black Album, and you expect the collaboration of the two to be epic.
Well, you think it would change the world?
Well, I think we talked about this. I think we talked about this before. If Watch the Throne came out earlier in their careers, it could have been like one of the GOAT collaborations. Yeah. Like if it came out like, I don't know, 2005, 2006 instead of, what was it, 2011, it would have been like an absolute masterpiece with their abilities. You know, Jay-Z just off the Black Album, Kanye on Late Registration ish. That would have been fine. One thing I want to refute your point, Dennis, on features, saying that Kanye was worse than the feature every time. If we're talking rapping, right, my favorite feature on the entire album was 5EO Foreign on Off the Grid. You know, the fucking drill song. Like he went in, but Kanye came in on the third verse and also went in, which I was not expecting. There was one cringe line, from Kanye, because he's always got to have a really cringe bar, if not many, where he goes, what was it? He was like, I always talk to God, he's my bestie. Remember that?
Yeah.
That I was just like, scraping my knuckles off. But apart from that, I thought he killed that verse.
On that track, there is a line that I quite liked on that, and it is the last verse that he comes in on, and he goes, Adam could have. They say Adam could have never been black because black man never share his rib. It's like, oh, there's jokes on this album. Like Adam could have never been black because a black man will never share his ribs. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, this isn't an all serious, all God thing. There's jokes on this. So I'm with you on that.
Well, that's something that I actually thought was a bit of a strength of this album, where he's managed to. It's slightly like what we were talking about with BT Bam last week, where it's not fully cohesive, but he's pulled elements from almost his entire career into this album, and I know Hattie will agree with me here. This is a much more palatable level of Christianity, as a secular listener. I was there for most of Jesus is King, but as a Kanye album, it was a bit of a letdown. This is I can not even have to think about it when I listen to this. It's just an element that's there rather than being the whole show itself. But he's also got like you say, he's got drill stuff in the production also, regardless of any features he ever has or any cringy verses he puts out himself. Kanye West will never produce a sloppy beat, in my opinion. Even the stuff that's slightly undercooked here, clean wise, I don't mind too much because I like a little bit of the rough and ready stuff. But just in terms of how he's bringing elements together and which sound choices he's making in the moment that pair with each other, he's still got a fantastic talent for it.
I agree, but it still needed drums. I was fine with the synths, there were guitars, all of that, which, sometimes even gave me Dark Twisted Fantasy vibes. But the sticking point was, it needed some drums on a lot of the tracks that didn't.
And his drums are so good.
Yes.
He does them so well. On
the production side, I've been hearing rumors that Come to Life was co-produced with Tyler, the Creator. I haven't been able to confirm that. But Twitter is sort of suggesting things, and I think there was a brief credit on Genius, which has been taken down now. And there was an Instagram post with the two of them in the studio back in July. So not sure about that, but there could be a Tyler produced track on there. So
I had the same thing. Yeah. I didn't really get much from that track though, to be honest. I mean, to be honest, pretty much all of the tracks I enjoyed were pretty much in the first half. From the kind of, that the second Donda, I wanted to briefly talk about what you guys think about Donda and Donda Chant, but from Donda, I think it was track 15 onwards, I wasn't feeling the album until the part twos.
I quite like
it was a stretch. It was a stretch.
There's definitely two halves.
Yeah.
Because I think that second half got a bit more on the gospel side. So again, I agree with you, Jack. It was more palatable because you had the varied stuff in the first half, but then he started wailing about Jesus and the devil, and that's where it lost me in that latter half again until the part twos where it picked up again.
And his mama.
What's that? Sorry.
And his mama.
Well, that's what I was going to say. what do you guys think of the Donda chant and Donda? Because I don't know if you've got the context. Like when he did the live events, the Donda chant, he had pictures of his mum up on the screen, and obviously it was the thing of it representing her heartbeat, which I thought was cool. But in the context of like an audio recording, if you never saw that or read about that, I'm sitting there for a minute. That's the longest minute of my life listening to Donda, 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 Donda. The second Donda I liked because it was her talking, and I thought that should have been the starting track.
Yeah, I think they definitely should have flipped them, but having listened to a lot of weird sound art and stuff, I actually really liked, and especially like minimalism. Like I can imagine Philip Glass making Donda, but it would be 50 minutes long, and it would have 13 different layers of Dondas syncing up and going in and out of each other. Like, but it's also, I was almost like, because I saw it was coming to the end of a minute, and I was there going like, well, okay, yeah, like it's an interesting idea, and it's very like musical thing to explore spoken word and rhythmic stuff, and that's really interesting. But I almost felt like disappointed by the end of it that it hadn't been more expansive. But even just having the voiceover
didn't play
on
with
top,
it as much.
yeah, like even having the voiceover on top
or whatever it is,
would have snared me more than just the one single instrument going through.
Yeah. What about you, Dennis? What was your thoughts?
Well, yeah, the kind of with Jack in that I appreciate the artistic value of Donda Chant, and yeah, now that you said it's more of a multimedia experience rather than a singular sort of opening track.
Yeah, I didn't know that
that's
either.
fairly interesting.
Yeah.
But with the track Donda, I thought that was fairly interesting. It's a little homage to his to like a dedication to his mother. He actually got a recording. I was curious how he got the recording and when he got the recording, which would be interesting to look into, which I didn't get a chance to.
It would have been great opening with that, just hearing her voice.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Because
and the Donda chart could have been a palate cleanser. Again, if they were swapped, it could have been a palate cleanser. I think I would have.
Yeah. No, it would have contextualized the album as well, because it starts out with the Donda chant, and you don't really know what the hell's going on, and you're sort of confused, and you're going into the album confused. No, it would have been great because I think there are some heartfelt songs on the album itself, so it would have been great if you were primed already to be like, oh, this is a heartfelt album. For example, like Come to Life. I thought Come to Life was very very revealing, very like vulnerable of Kanye, because he's talking about like bipolar. Well, he's alluding to bipolar. He's got lyrics sort of talking about he's talking about his divorce a little bit, and he says something like, give me a sec, let me pull up my notes.
Wasn't that Lord I Need You? Maybe he was talking about in both, because Lord I Need You was kind of like a breakup song.
I think he's talking about it. Really, he's talking about the divorce throughout. Really, there's little things that allude to it, but he's like talking about I get mad when she's gone, mad when she home, sad when she gone, mad when she home.
Oh yeah.
Sad when she gone. That sort of alludes to. He's already said that he has bipolar disorder, so he's going sad, mad, which is alluding to this to like his condition. So
and he's like, don't you wish you had another life? He's singing. I don't know if it's that track, but he's.
Yeah. Ever wish you had another life? Yeah.
Ever wish you had another life? That bit, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, I thought it was really heartfelt. So it would have been great to like open the album, sort of preparing like this isn't like we're far away from the I am a god Kanye.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Any other points for you guys, or should we move on to some of the tracks we liked?
Yeah, I'm happy to move on.
Good. Okay. All right. I'll chuck it to you then, Jack. Have you got a top three?
I do. Yes, I've done something slightly different to usual with my top three this time, where
top 27.
because it was like quite a diverse album, and it's quite a weird one to start off with if you're going to listen to Kanye for the first time. Do you know what I mean? If you're not like entrenched in his previous work.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy decision.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've kind of picked my top track of each of the like kind of voices that I found on the album, and then give a kind of a representative feel.
That's a good shout.
So yeah, my top one, Jail Part 2. I thought they were both sick. Like production wise, this is like all of the lights level Kanye. This is like it's up there in pairing sounds together, in like actual song structure and having a flow and mixing all the different elements, like the different vocal styles as well, with the rapping and the harmonized singing and stuff. I'm a sucker for some distorted stabs.
If you had to pick one as well, are you taking part 1 or part 2?
Probably part 1, because I liked Jay-Z's verse, and I was so ready to not like Jay-Z's verse, because I've like he's just not been on his top game on features for me recently.
Did you catch him like poking fun at the MAGA hat thing as well?
Yeah.
I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
he kept that in.
I almost went for the MAGA hat Kanye for the thumbnail of the video, but I changed at the end. Yeah, and just like we're talking about the start of the album being a bit odd, but like this was after the Donda chant. This was like the way to start the album. If you hadn't had the Donda and it just started with this as well, that would have slapped still. But getting into the
take what you want.
Yeah. And getting into that the like chanted vocal, I guess we're gonna jet stuff with all the layered vocals hitting that at all of the range of it.
God gonna post my bail tonight.
Yeah. Fucking anthemic as fuck. Yeah. So actually bumped all my buttons there. So the other choice I made, Moon I went with, which may trigger some of you given the lack of drums. But what I liked about it was that across the album he's using these really like a bit kind of contrastingly to Jail with its distorted sounds, he's using really rounded sounds as well, and really like smooth like sine wave end rather than sawtooth end sort of sounds. And this was just a really, really good bringing together of those elements, as well as something I usually hate, which is all the auto-tune that is all over the album. But here, it pairs so nicely with those fully rounded sounds, and there's nothing jagged, like, sticking out to combat it. So it's just nice sounds to listen to. I think this is where he uses that technique to its best, to its fullest. And then the last one, I'm going to go with Believe What I Say, because it's got some non-auto-tuned vocals on it, so it sounds like an actual human, which is always nice. And that goddamn bass line is like late registration worthy. It's just, it's much more of that kind of
that was the one with the Lauryn Hill sample,
influenced.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was sick, actually.
So yeah, of those three, I think, kind of span a bit of Kanye history that you can find on this album if you look a bit deeper, and like depending which one you like, you can go down a different rabbit hole to his other works.
Yeah, and quite a first half heavy top 3, which I think I'm going to share with you.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that. I wasn't too fussed at Moon, which I know obviously you kind of predicted, but there was some cool kind of synth like guitar in it, which reminded me of some shit that he did on Dark Fantasy. But I thought it was just like there were a lot of tracks that sounded like Moon that didn't quite hit it for me. So yeah, I thought I'd pick that one off those tracks. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to re-listen to that a few more times, because someone else that I talked to about it was also rating that track a lot. Dennis, what about you?
I'm gonna have to re-listen, to Moon again. To pick out what you guys are saying. I'm gonna go a little bit different, and most of my tracks are actually coming from the second half. Actually,
man,
for similar reasons to
is that a Jesus chain you got around your neck?
For similar reasons to Jack, actually, because these tracks that I chose, I think they are similar to Kanye's efforts at different points. So so one of my top tracks is Pure Souls, and I think Pure Souls is the Kanye's rapping on that is really similar to like early Kanye rapping. Quite like that. Come to Life. Come to Life, I thought was very, very different to anything else that he's kind of done. It's Come to Life seems more like a development from from Ye, where it's sort of religious, it is spiritual. It doesn't have an 808. It's all instrumental. And Keep My Spirit Alive. Keep My Spirit Alive for well, I just love West Side Gun. So
yeah. I couldn't really fuck with any of the tracks that you liked. I think Pure Souls was actually one of my bottom three that I was kind of keeping track of, which is interesting. But you know, I mean, that's why we're not having a boring conversation.
Yeah,
I didn't hate the second half of the album, but it was definitely like less to get on board with. I would have liked either they're flipped, so you got a bit of build up, or two releases, so they're more conceptually contained.
Yeah, I would go for the two releases, so I don't add the gospel one onto my library. But but yeah, so my top three, I'm gonna go with God Breathed with Vori. This track really reminded me of like his Yeezus era. You know, there was like tribal chanting and like distorted like samples that just kind of spliced in that, which was really cool. Did want some drums. I really wanted like a kind of black skinhead type on it. But it was just kind of like bass synth led. But I thought Vori was awesome. I would be keen to kind of check out his solo stuff on that. My favorite track was Off the Grid with 5 Year Foreign and Playbook. I'm shocked neither of you mentioned that, because it was fucking fire, man. This is the best track on the album. I don't give a shit.
What's that again?
Off the Grid.
It's
We off the grid.
Well, see, I liked it, but that's always a sticking point for me, is when an entire verse is built around repeating words at the end of a line. Like,
same.
I enjoy it, and music wise, I liked it as well. Theme wise, I liked it, but like, yeah, just it's something that triggers in my brain when it's like it's written like that with the repetitions.
Yeah, I can see that viewpoint. Yeah, I think that was the thing, because there was so much like drumless ambience that just having a straight up banger. You know, it was just what I wanted. Wish I had more of. You know, not the whole album, but it was just you know, it was just something that stood out so much just by the intensity. And like that 5 Year, like his versions went on and on and on. He was just so fire. There was especially at there was a bit where he's flowing. He was like, if you got a voice, then you got to project it. If you got a wrong, then you got to correct it. Like, he was just going in. And then, like I said, Kanye came and delivered, which I wasn't expecting. It kind of reminded me of like when he did No More Parties with Kendrick, where Kendrick obviously did a fire verse, and then Kanye came in like, oh shit, he's matching him bar for bar, when I wouldn't, class Kanye on the same tier of rapping, but he stepped up. And he stepped up.
That's the one where he went back and rewrote his verse, isn't it?
What, on No More Parties?
So yeah, I think it was that.
Or was that with Tyler?
Was it?
I thought it was with wasn't it Smuckers?
I might be putting them together there, because you both seem pretty sure.
Yeah. He might have done it on both. And then my third track that I liked, that I'm a bit disappointed we didn't mention, but Heaven and Hell, which was actually a later track. But yeah, I thought that one was really epic. Again, like pretty interesting bars, and then it just had a huge drop with like a vocal chant in the background, and Kanye was kind of doing like a feel the love type vocal scat thing over the top, which I thought was dank. But yeah, that would be my top three. So are we all different?
Sounds like
so,
it.
yeah.
All pick different tracks. God damn, I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Well, on a 27-track album.
Yeah, by the law of averages, right? Yeah.
I think we'd make a pretty banging 9-track album from what we've chosen.
Yeah. That's the reviewer's cut right there. I have to put that up. All right. Yeah, okay, let's get to it. What are our overall ratings? Again, I'll chuck it to you, Jack.
I have gone for a backpack because I think if it was shorter and the tracks that are the quality of the tracks that I like were the only tracks there, it's an easy fire. But there's a lot where I'm like, this is kind of interesting, but like this little bit puts me off, or like I don't really like this, but this little bit is good. Like there's something I can find in every track at least, but for to justify it being a 27 track album, I think it needs to be like consistent as fuck. But it's not bad. So yeah, it's definitely not a ribbon for me. But yeah, I'd put it somewhere in the middle.
Dennis?
I'm gonna go with a ribbon. I would have put it on backpack, but the length pushed it down even further. I thought that for us to wait this long for a follow-up Kanye album that was so hyped, and for some of the tracks to sound as if they're unfinished, that to me puts it on backpack. But then it's 27 tracks, an hour and 50 minutes, and you sound like you've just sort of done a brain dump that pissed me off even more. And so yeah, I pushed it down to ribbon.
Okay. Okay, yeah. And so for me, yeah, I kind of echo the same thoughts. Like, like I said, there's a good 8 tracks that I could take from this, and I definitely want to listen to again. But then when that amounts to a third of the album, like I'm mad. I'm mad. Like I've probably spent like 6 hours of my time on this album and didn't enjoy a lot of that runtime. So I'm going to give it a ribbon as well. There was a solid regular length album on here. That's the issue. But yeah, it kind of felt unfinished. Needed some drums. He needs to move away from God still to me. It was better than Jesus is King, and for me, yeah,
he needs to move on from God to Hattie.
Yeah, I think I gave Jesus is King and Ye a ribbon as well. I believe this is a better quality ribbon, but it's still a participation ribbon. So
I just want you guys to know that you've put this below the Drake EP.
Oh shit, we didn't even talk about the Drake beef.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Maybe we could do that next week.
Yeah, Drake's, if we're doing the Drake album next week, Drake has alluded to some verses to some events that took place where Kanye posted his address on social media or something.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't care who you are, man. You dox someone, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's fine. We can save that and recap the next week, because maybe there'll be some events over the course of the next few days that can keep things interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's the review. You guys got anything else before we wrap this up?
Let us know what you think.
Want to say?
If you like what we're saying, you agree with it, give us a like. If you want to see our next reviews, give us a subscribe. If you've got a different opinion, or you want to pick out something that we maybe missed, give us a comment, let us know below.
Yeah.
Keep listening.
Cool. All right. That's it. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.